Hey guys, welcome to Quinn's Tree Farm, coming to you straight through the power of YouTube, right from Cornville, Maine, as usual. It's been a little bit since I put a video out, sorry about that. When you become the Christmas tree king of Cornville, you end up not having as much time for videos as you would like. So, here I am, we've wrapped up Shearing 2023, and I am working on the Northfield bracted balsam and MCTA balsam that we put in the spring of 2021. So these are on their third growing season, and they followed the sleep, creep, leap pattern quite well, and they're starting to look like Christmas trees. So I tend to shear these the same way with my clippers and my knife, although I use my clippers a lot more. We'll go through this field, we'll pick up on a couple of things, so stick around and let's get to work. So right out of the gates, we do the same thing. We start shearing and tightening it up so that we have that nice taper. Now remember, when we're shearing these trees, we are shearing for not next year, 6 years, 5 years from now. So shape is important, but it's not, it's like you don't need it to look like a Christmas tree right now. You need it to become a Christmas tree. So with that being said, it might be a little bit tighter. But we also want to start looking for things that we can take care of now and how we can tighten stuff up. So I am going to cut those terminal buds off. And we're going to do the same thing where we're going to cut about a foot down to about 10 inches to a foot. And we're going to look at the bud sets and see where they're at. And I don't really have a good terminal leader there, so sorry, Tony, but that's going away. And then we click. And then while I'm here, if I want to dig out some of these weeds, because it's hard to get, well, it's not hard, but I don't always do a good job getting weeds out in the early season. And then we go to the next one, and we do the same thing. We're tightening up that tree. Now it's going to be almost close to a vertical as opposed to a taper. And I'm not so nervous about, I had my friend Ryan mentioned to me, and I meant to tell you this, Ryan, if you're watching this, but he had said how he likes to use hand shears like my dad does because he feels like he doesn't get the shape of a Christmas tree with the knife. He says it's too mechanical. And I didn't get a chance to mention to him, so I'm mentioning it to him now, that again, you're not worried if it looks like a square now. It's not the end of the world, because those bud sets are going to branch out and it's still going to get that conical shape by the end of the tree's life. No matter how much you slice it, if you shear a square tree when it's a baby, it's not going to be a square tree when it's an adult. They don't grow like that. Now, yeah, if you sheared it square and then cut it, it'd stay square. But so I still encourage him to try the knives out because I think he can move faster, but he's small enough that it's not a big deal to him. And again, like I say to everybody, it's your journey, it's your tree farm. If you want to do it that way, do it that way. And if you screw it up, you screw it up. And if I screw it up, I screw it up. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day now, does it? As long as you're putting your effort into it and you're giving it the college try. And then again, we're going to come back 10 inches. Now, when they're younger like this, I could maybe stretch that out a little bit. And then on the same token, we're taking care of any problems that we see right out of the gates, that if we take care of now, we don't have to worry about later. For the most part, the trees in this field are thriving, especially in the upper part. The wet spots, not so much. We've had a ton of rain this year, and this one might be struggling a little, but I think it's still alive. It's just puke green, so hopefully we can bounce that back. And we just keep working down the line that way. See how oblong this is? I mean, this is not shaped at all, so we're really going to tighten that up. I mean, I'm taking all the growth from this year and cutting it back, but I'm not, because I have all that growth as this year's too. And those are bud sets that are going to break out. And it just looks that much more like a tree now, that much more like a shape, even if it is mechanical. do some fork pruning there if we have to. And I want to get those terminal buds off that leader. And then that's a good, nice bud set. So I might leave that because I got a lot of growth there. Okay guys, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be out. It looks like thunderstorms coming this way, and I'll tell you, somebody was smoking the chiba there, driving a car by the road, and because it smells like skunk all of a sudden, if you know what I mean. So, a couple of things. I wanted to show people a little bit up close. I noticed in one of the groups somebody was talking about swinging their knife. So, I thought that I'd go over how I swing my knife and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So this is a good tree to attack. We can take care of a lot of problems in this tree right now. And if we take care of them now, it'll save us problems in the future that we don't have to come back and save this tree. So the first thing is we have this guy right here. Now the question is, do we take this guy out or do we leave part of him? I'm going to lean toward leaving part of him, because if you look, if I take him out, I'm a little bit naked here. Now, at the end of the day, it's not going to be a big deal because this is going to grow up. But that will fill in. You'll never even know it's there at this stage of the tree, and then that will grow up. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to tie in these trees. Now, I want to show you. This is why I'm not concerned so much about cutting these back, because these are all going to proliferate with buds and bud sets, okay? So all of these have little bud sets starting to form. This right here is where it started last year. And I sheared it here last year, and that's what was left over. And all of these here are what became of that. And then in here, see that? That's all new growth. That's all new growth on last year's cut. And that's what these are going to form. And that's what fills this all in. So it's not the end of the world at this stage if this comes off. Now, yes, we lost all of this good growth. But if you look at that tree, it doesn't look much like a tree. So at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's more important to have a good looking tree. Now, I might not take all of them off. Now, the second thing is I on these small trees, because they're below me, I go in the reverse. And I just take them off in the reverse like that. Now, I'm not taking all of them off, you can see. But if it comes to it, I will. And this one's not quite so bad once it shapes up. And then I go back and I kind of go to the front. Little trees deserve as much attention as big ones, especially if you can get the problems taken care of at this stage of the game. You won't have to worry later. We cut all of these off. Let me see. Let's go find a tree. See all of these? They look a lot like that terminal bud up there, don't they? And that's what we don't want, is we don't want those to branch out and make little stars there. So we're going to end up cutting those all off on all of these trees going down the line, okay? Okay. And then at the end of it, we're going to cut our leader. Now, some of them I might leave long. Some of them I might not. See all of these? These are great bud sets all the way up through. But I still think it's a little long, and if it gets too long, it gets too skinny and lanky. So I'm going to kick this back. I think it might start raining on me. If I run for the camera, you'll know. So then the same thing here, we're doing that reverse. I'm just getting that tree to start looking a little bit like a tree. Now it's definitely getting dark. No thunder though, no thunder. And just like that. Now this one I'll leave, it's too short and I'm not too concerned about it. So Tony, you're rubbing off on me. Okay, another thing I want to talk about that I saw on the group. Some guy was asking how to shear. He sent some videos on how to shear and everyone was telling him how to shear. And look, everything that you see on all the how-to pages, on the growing pages, I'm not going to tell you to take with a grain of salt because there is some really good information in there. There's some really bad information in there too, and you have to weed it out. But at the end of the day, you do need to find what works for you. And I can't reiterate that enough because it is your field and it is your journey. And if some guy says, well, I like the sage or I use a Bernanke, and I'm like, I like the knives. Well, guess what? He's not swinging the knives, I am. But there are some best practices with that being said. And I'm still learning the best practices and I'm trying to share as I go. So I am by no means an expert. In fact, I listen to a lot of people and just do what they say more than you know. And they know who they are and they know how much I appreciate that. But one thing that I noticed is people talk about swinging, and this guy was swinging. My God, he was moving his shoulder. He's like, my shoulder's getting tired. Well, no kidding. You don't need to move your shoulder. You swing the knife like you use a hammer, right? You use your elbow and you use your wrist and you get that whipping action to really speed that up, right? So like, that's what you're gonna do really fast. And as you get going, you just can cut these things much easier as opposed to hack it away, right? You don't want to, my God, your rotator cuff's gonna beg you for mercy. So I just go in and you see, like, even on these little ones, it's hard to see because I'm walking in front of the camera, but I'm like, I mean, that's all just my wrist. And then I'm done. So find what works best for you. If you like a sage, if you like a Bernanke, if you like hedge trimmers, it's all for you, right? Like that's your thing. But at the end of the day, find people who know what they're talking about and pay attention because they're invaluable in this whole endeavor. It's kind of sprinkling out, but it's not a big deal today, so I'm just bebopping around. The other thing that I noticed is this is a brand new knife. And a brand new knife is like putting on a brand new pair of underwear. There's nothing in the world like it. And it's sharp and it just cuts really well. And I can go that much faster. And I'm not hurting myself or anything. So when you notice those knives getting dull, get rid of them. I'm gonna put the camera away because it's getting wet. I think you got a couple of little things there. Is that better? Okay. It's raining. It's not the best weather out today. Blue sky in different places. This is gonna pass. You know, I'd really rather feel bad in Maine than feel good anywhere else. So there go, my friends. We'll see you soon. Got a lot coming up on our plate. I hope to get as many videos out as I can. Forgive me if I don't.